Hello, everyone. My name is Bartosz Jabłoński. It's a great pleasure to be here, take part in the SAS Global Forum 2020. This is a very special event since we are working in a virtual event setup. So let's dive into the matrix. So as I said, my name is Bartosz Jabłoński. I'm a mathematician by train and data analyst by trade. I'm working with SAS more than 10 years up now. I'm also a bit a SAS teacher. I'm involved in different various different SAS activities like Polish SAS Users Group here in Poland because I'm from Poland, and I also hold second and a half done in SAS Sensei online quiz game. Please check it out. And one of my features, let's say it, is if you would like to turn on my problem solver, the best way to do it is to say you probably can't do it something like this in SAS. And today's presentation is kind of was born during one of such discussions. I'm going to talk today about the concept and the framework I prepared especially for this event. It's a SAS package concept of SAS package, the tool, the idea which allows you to in an easy and comfortable way share your code with others. Before I jump to the subject, just one more note. Here I'm representing Warsaw University of Technology, and also I'm representing Citibank Europe PLC. Those institutions. In the first one I'm learning, in the second one I'm working, and also there's a third, I won't say institution, I would say group of people called Polish SAS Users Group, which I'm representing here also. Please check out our LinkedIn webpage. Join us at communitysas.com/polsuk. If you are a fan of SAS, especially from Poland, please join us and try to work out with us in the SAS Polish SAS Users Group. And now let's go to the subject. Maybe let's start with the inspirations. So how it all started. Some time ago, I was working with my colleague Philip on a project. We were doing this with two tools. I was using SAS. Philip was using R, and we are doing our analysis for the project. And at the end of the project, I ended up with a bunch of SAS macros, which were required to do my part of the job. And Philip ended up with one single file, which was our package, and all the codes required to do his part of the job was encapsulated in that package. And I look at this and I thought to myself, that's very, very cool, very, very useful thing to have. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to do something like this in SAS. And that was the sentence. You probably can't do it something like this in SAS. And I start thinking about it. I start wondering how such functionality could be provided. And then I encountered a discussion on the SAS L distribution list, all the SAS distribution forums, SAS distribution list SAS forum, where Quentin Macmillan was discussing the subject of reading data from a zip file, and this was the thing that turned on my focus on the solution of creating something like a package. And when I did the first one, I did just by hand, and I showed it to my colleagues from the office. One of them was Philip, the other one was Krzysztof. I showed them the idea, and I asked them what what they think about it, and they simultaneously said, that's quite cool idea, but we think that you could try to write some kind of a framework which would allow users and developers create their own package in the automatic way. And that was the moment when I start working on this subject, and a few days later, after some scratching on my head and thinking about it, I present them the first version of a solution. So the SAS package. You can see this O'Reilly-ish style book cover here, titled SAS Packages, The Way to Share. And there are two animals, as usual, on O'Reilly's books. And there's this sentence at the top: the wolf is headed and the sheep is whole. This is all Polish saying, which is here the phrase is literal translation. And the sayings means more or less that if you have two parties of an argument, discussion, or some kind of interaction, you are able to find solution which satisfies both of those parties. And the same we have with the idea of packages, because when you are creating package, when you are developer, you have some requirements for such tool. When you are user and you want to use created package, you also have some requirements. And I tried in this framework, which I will be presenting in a moment, combine those requirements, and I hope I managed to do it. So what I mean by a SAS package. First of all, the concept of a package in the SAS ecosystem is not something new. There are already something like DS2, procedure DS2 packages, SAS IML packages. There are also SAS ODS packages, and there are also SAS integration technology publishing framework packages. Also the EGP enterprise guide files that are kind of packages, because they are zip files with a bunch of metadata. But none of this is what I'm going to talk about. I'm the framework, the idea, which I'm presenting here is something new. Since I'm a mathematician, let's start with some small definition, which gives you the idea. So SAS package is automatically generated single standalone zip file containing organized and ordered code structures created by developer and extended by additional automatically generated driving files and metadata, which combines everything together. The purpose of package is to be single, simple, easy to access code sharing medium, which allows on the one hand to separate developers' work with complex dependencies of the code, which separates it from the user's experience with the final product. And the second one is to reduce both developers and users, unnecessary frustration related to remote deployment of a codes. And there's also third one purpose, which I not explicitly showing here, is the building of community. If you ever programmed with R, you know that the packages in R are something fundamental, and whenever you create something which could be valuable for the community, you are encapsulated in the package and share it. And that's also my goal here, to give you a tool which allows you to share code you created, to build a community. We are at SAS Global Forum, the place where all people from the SAS community meet, so that looks like the perfect place to share with such idea. So, as I said, there are always two parties in this game: the user and the developer. So, one who is creating and one who is looking at the creation. So, let me briefly give you an idea of how to work with the framework, with this framework of SAS packages from both sides. Let's start with the user point of view, because it's really simple and very short and comfortable in use. So the user process takes 3 steps. First step is related with files and folders. So user have to create a folder in which the packages will be stored, and then user have to download the loadPackage SAS element of the framework. You can see this little asterisk here. So here in this moment, I'm giving a little wink to a SAS Institute. Maybe if you find this concept interesting, maybe you will put this macros provided by the framework into the Base SAS ecosystem in the future, so users won't have to download it. It will be just in SAS. And the second thing that user needs to download is the package itself. So basically, you're creating a folder, downloads two files, one with the required for a framework, and the second with the package you want to use. The second step of the process is to execute some code. So this code, 3 lines of code, allows you to enable the framework and load the package to use it. Basically, 3 lines of code. And the final step of the process on the user side is the so-called what next. So when you load up the package, first read the log, check out what this package is doing, what is the version. Just familiarize yourself with the package you've just loaded. You can also run the help package macro, checking up what more the package is giving you. And as the final step, just use the package. You are user, use the package. And that's all. Those 3 steps are all that the user needs to do to work with a package provided to him by whom? By developer. So now let's look at the idea from the developer's point of view. It's also very simple and straightforward. And if you already have a bunch of codes, macros, functions, formats, definitions, you don't have to, as a developer, you don't have to do almost nothing. You have to do almost nothing to make it usable. So the developer side of the story. There are also 3 steps which are required, and they are almost the same as the user steps. The first one is the files and folders. So the developer have to download the framework. So both parts of the framework, the generate package SAS file and the loadPackage SAS file. Again, here's this little asterisk. So this is second wing to the SAS Institute. Maybe you would like to incorporate this is in the solution in SAS. Then, if a developer wants to create a package, there's a need for a folder in which the package files will be stored. And that's the last step here. Details about how this files should look like, I will share in the next slide. But assuming that we already have the framework downloaded and the package files prepared, now what developer should do to create a package? Just run 3 lines of codes. First 2 to enable the framework, and the third one to generate the package, to run the framework and create a package. As a result, developer will get the zip file containing all the package content and some summary. So in the what next step, developer should read the summary, check out the log for any information about how the process went. Then good practice would be to test a package, which is also a feature available in the framework. And when everything is okay, when tests are positive, then share your package with the users. So that's basically the very simple three steps of the process. As I said earlier, the files for a package should be prepared in proper way. Let me show you some example of such structure. So this setup is very simple. In the package folder, you embed the description.sas file, which contains information about metadata for your package. And then in a very simple way, you structurize your code. So whenever you have code creating a library or macro or a function or format or any other available code structure, you put it into separate folder, lib name for libraries, macro for macros, function for functions, and so on, so on. And each code creating either library or macro or function or format is a separate file with the same name as the function or as the macro name itself. So basically the standard SAS way of doing such things if you ever used SAS autocalls framework for macros. There's also this file named license SAS. It's not obligatory. If you don't provide it, the framework will generate automatically the MIT license file for you for your package. The description .sas file, the one which contains metadata, has very simple structure. Let me share with you an example of such file. It contains two parts, the header and the description part. The header is a set of metadata used by the framework, the package name, the short description, the package version, the list of authors and maintainers, also the type of license on which the package is shared, the encoding used for created, and also those two, I call them tags, required and required packages. This is they are not obligatory but very useful. The first one is the list of SAS components which are required for your package to work, like base SAS software or some kind of SAS access interface to any external database. And the second one, packages. This is a list of other packages which are required for your package to work properly. And the second part, description, is the free text in which you can elaborate about your package. You can put there some additional information about your package, some help information, some examples, describe the content of the package. And this part will be used as an element of a help for your package. So very simple structure, very little set of additional requirements on the developer side to create a package which could be shared with other users. So we know how to use package, we know how to create a package in a very general way. If you want to learn about details, usually at this moment I would give you a live demo, but we agreed that in this virtual event we are having a bit shorter presentation. So let me just share with you this link to my GitHub webpage. When I put all the information about packages, I put there a copy of the article which will be published within SAS Global Forum 2020 proceedings. I've put there all the codes for the framework. I put there a group of packages which I already created for you to play with them and check them. If you are interested in such thing like live demo of how the packages works, or maybe you would like to contact me, have a online call, or even kind of a hands-on workshop about SAS packages, don't hesitate to contact me. Use either the email address from the first slide or contact me through the either GitHub or any other social media like LinkedIn or something like this. And usually at this moment when presenter is ending, there is a slide saying, do you have any questions? But I decided to change this slide. I would like to ask you, would you like to build your own package with me? So at this moment, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you like the idea and you would like to dig deeper into it. If you're interested, there are some references which may help you to work it out. And at the very end of this talk, I would like to express my big gratitude to two of my colleagues from my office, Filip Kolon and Krzysztof Socki, who spent a lot of time with the early version of my article and spent some time listening my ideas and gave me the very, very valuable clues how to develop this idea. Philip, Krzysztof, thank you very much for your effort. And that would be it. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my talk, and I hope we can talk online or offline about it in the future. Thank you very much.